Dune, Arrakis, Desert Planet. Let's get into Frank Herbert's Dune. All right, so with the movie coming out that they did recently, the Dennis Villeneuve or whatever his name is, movie coming out in October, got me really excited about this series, and so I figured, hey, why not? I've always been wanting to read it, so might as well get into it. Well, so this summer I've pretty much gotten into I'm almost done with book five now in the six book saga from Herbert's original works, so it is coming along speedily. So let's talk about book one. Dune is a very interesting read, and much like 1984 by George Orwell, it's more than a fiction, or in this case, more than a science fiction. It includes a lot of philosophy, a lot of notes on psychology, body language, subtleties of politics and maneuverings of different factions against one another. And funny enough, I can see with Dune how this inspired so many other works that we know and love. I mean, honestly, with the behavior of the houses in Dune, it reminded me a lot of George R. R. Martin's Game of Thrones, and I can see where he took a lot of inspiration from Frank Herbert. And I saw some stuff that clearly inspired Star Wars and all these other science fiction things. So this is source material for a lot of the science fiction we know and love today in our time. So, getting into Dune, the characters it follows are very interesting. Paul is very complex in his sense of the visions he has and trying to prevent a destructive future. We'll see how much the movie coming up covers in this. As I've gone through several of the books, and I'll make sure to post individual reviews on that. So to not get too far from the first book, there's a lot here. And I'm happy they're divvying up the movie in two parts because I think it'll be very exciting to see how much they capture. But the thing about Dune ultimately is that it's a story of humanity covered over the course of many books. And the first one, it's more personalized to individuals. You get invested in individual characters and how they feel and think about things. Getting into the characters' thoughts is a big part of the book. And as much as people make fun of the 80s version of Dune with their thoughts being audible for the audience to hear, that part is accurate to the book. You hear their thoughts a lot in the book, how they're monitoring little things of body language and looking for ulterior motives and such. It's very rich that way. And so this is another book where if you're really into philosophy and psychology, there's a lot to be found here. Now, I know that not everyone loves this book with how dense it is, and it is dense. Honestly, I feel like one of the benefits I had getting through it was I got through it really quickly. Like I would just binge in the thing basically. This is the great thing about audiobooks is you can blaze them while you're cleaning the kitchen, so to speak. That has been my mantra lately. But I got through it quickly enough to where everything made sense. I knew which characters were which characters, which factions, and which beliefs were what they were being listed. Now, Frank Herbert is an actual scientist. He knows a lot of stuff and he's a really smart guy. So at the end of the day, this is a story in which he puts a lot of his beliefs and his thoughts and some of his expertise. You get to see the planetology, for example, of Arrakis and its ecosystem and things like that. And you can see that this is from a mind that is fluent in this type of vocabulary. And so that is a treat, I think, because not only are you getting a fictional story that has interesting moments, you're getting a lot of information. And it's that part that people need to be prepared for with Dune, because I think too many of us expect just a story to be swept off our feet with. And then here's this guy giving a lecture on planetary ecology or religious beliefs or human nature and things like that. And people aren't prepared for those lectures. Whereas for me, I do feel like 1984 by George Orwell prepared me well for this because I realized I like when the authors share their beliefs or at least play with beliefs in the arena of their story because it gives you a lot to think about. And ultimately, I do think you walk away a smarter person after going through these books. So I love the book a lot, honestly, and I think this is a really great time to get into it with the movie coming out. Um, I'm hoping my expectations aren't too high for the movie now that I've read the book, but I really enjoyed the book, and there was a lot of blank spots in some of the scenes or jumping to from one place to another, to where there's definitely gaps that can be filled in with the film, and it'll be fun to see them take liberties with those things, because that way you can see fluid behavior from characters as you're getting into the story. Because whereas a book can contain a college lecture on human behavior or religion or body language mid sentence, a movie can't do that. So you have to create a more fluid experience. And so there is a lot of wiggle room, I think, for artistic liberties. We'll just see how they do it. But I'm really excited. Definitely encourage the read if you are one who likes to learn something from your books. Growing up, I was homeschooled, and my mom never really saw a reason to get into fictional reading. She always liked reading straight psychology books or things like that, so she knew she'd walk away with some value. And I respect that a lot, and honestly, I think that is the type of reading that is most worthwhile. So once I started getting to more fictional reading, where there was more than just a fictional story. There was actual valuable knowledge and insights and things you could debate your friends with, or even just yourself, and trying to figure out life, man's search for meaning type stuff. That's when I really started to enjoy fiction. So when that is not present in fiction, I think it's not as rich and it's not as rewarding. Because I think at the end of the day, where a fictional book is best is if you walk away with either better vocabulary or smarter for it, because it got you thinking about stuff that really mattered. So if it can do both of those things, it's a great book. And so by these standards, Dune is a great book, and I definitely encourage it. And if anything, be very, very patient with it. This is a book that is meant to teach you and get you to think. It's not just looking to entertain you. That being said, that's a disclaimer. Everyone will get what they will out of it. But for me, it was very rewarding, and I've enjoyed it a lot. And I'm looking forward to finishing the series so I can share my thoughts on the entirety of that 6-book saga from Mr. Frank Herbert. Anyway, salute to you guys. Thanks for bearing with me this far. I really hope you enjoy the read. Dune is great. Looking forward to the movie. Let's go. We'll see you guys.